Hi, my dear Astro family. Today we are going to be talking about the Libra full moon, which is going to be taking place on 5th or the 6th of April, depending on where you are. It's going to be 5:34 a.m. British summer time on 16 degree of Libra. Now, Libra is all about relationships. So let me grab the opportunity to announce one more time that I will be holding my very first retreat in Turkey from the 12th of June. Remember that it's still discounted till the 15th of April. So if you would like to sign up, then please grab your seat as soon as possible because the prices will go up after the 15th of April. What we will cover in this retreat is going to be all about relationship, how to overcome some of your relationships, how to work with synastry, composite charts. We're going to be looking at timing of relationships. We will do 1 day of family constellation therapy as well, so we can consciously clear the blockages around relationship. So if you are interested, grab your seat. Let's get started with this Libra full moon. So as I mentioned before, this Libra full moon is going to be taking place on 16 degree of Libra. So it's actually falling onto Leo Dwat. So what is Libra about to start with? Libra is all about how we relate to others. It's about the relationships, what we have got with ourselves as well, but also with our romantic partners, with business partners, with friends, or generally speaking, just other people. So some of the keywords for Libra is partnership, union, creating a balance, harmony, fairness in our lives. But also this is the sign of justice as well. So Libra is the only sign that is neither human or animalistic. It's actually an object. So we are talking about the justice of scale here. We need to be measuring how well the harvest went. The relationship is very valuable as someone keeps you hot during good cold nights. That's how the ancient people kind of thought about it. Now, this is one of the air signs among Gemini and Aquarius. So they are all connected to intellect, the connection, as well as how the mind works. Libra is about to develop your own judgment, becoming a contender, uh, to a better level, to have defined things in life. It's about abandoning your own judgment, unfortunately, and intuition as well, because others are trying to convince them, or you don't want to kind of fall out with others. You want to be pleasing them. Now, this is going to be a huge topic here with this Libra full moon, because we've got a very strong stellium going on in the sign of Aries, which is about individuality. So we've got Chiron, Sun, Jupiter, Vesta, an Aries, an asteroid in the sign of Aries. So the individuality is very highlighted here. So the moon in the sign of Libra does not want to be having any type of confrontations with others. Basically, what pleases them the most, that they want to be getting on well with other people. They want to be pleasing others. They want to be making sure that others actually like them. So moon in Libra is measuring, balancing, weighing things out. You know, it kind of tells you that the story has got two sides. So I want to be fair. I want to be listening to people. I want to make my decisions, but I don't want to upset anyone either. So, you know what? I just drag things a little bit along so that I don't need to be making a decision if not necessary. Libra in a moon in Libra is very concerned about creating a balance in life. They need calmness in their lives. Therefore, they might not prefer hectic lifestyle, for example. They want to be restoring order, creating peace. They want to correct any type of imbalance around them. They want to have a beautiful body. They want to be You know, it's very important for them what other people think of them. It's the sign of indecision. It is also about getting lost when we are looking for an answer. Often they give mixed messages as well. I just want to be popular. I want to find common ground with others. I want to be, I want my needs to be met, but I also want other people's needs to be met as well. So how to create a balance there? This is going to be a major topic here in the upcoming lunation. Also, this could pretty much talk to you about um, how to create the balance between me and my partner. So often the relationship, unfortunately, becomes rocky. So it is telling you to kind of try to find your voice somehow, or how to create or how to restore the relationship to its original form. Because maybe last week it went really well, but this time around it's not going as great as it was before. So how to create that balance within that? You know, from a psychological perspective, Libra is the perfect image in the parallel world. So we are all looking for someone who is going to complete us, who is going to make us as a whole. It's about looking for the perfect partner, forming a perfect relationship. So therefore, this full moon is about being around others. But because we've got a very strong Aries energy going on, shall I remain single or shall I be in a relationship? That could be a little bit of a issue here to make a decision, because you might feel that you are getting held back somehow by others. And very important to emphasize here that we are not only talking about personal relationships, but also we are talking about uh, any type of relationships basically in your life. And that's important to remember. Now, this is a very energetic full moon, by the way, because we've got some quincunxes going on. So the moon has got a quincunx to Uranus as well as Juno. This Libra full moon is creating a T-square with Sun, Jupiter, Chiron, as well as Pallas Athene. So when we are bringing this together, Pallas Athene is the focal point here, which is asking you to take a strategic approach to heal your own relationships. Pallas Athene is still in the sign of Cancer on 20 degrees. So it's falling into the third decan, which is Piscean decan, by the way. So it is very much about your psychological wounds. And this is getting highlighted here for you with this Libra full moon. And these psychological blockages are connected to your own relationships. So this T-square is asking you to find ways to overcome these challenges. It tries to bring you some healing, but also Pallas Athene is the asteroid of wisdom. The wisdom can be coming from family, for example, but also the ability to spot patterns in your own family. Why am I making the same mistakes like others in my own family? So it's about a repeated pattern here. Remember, we all have got some type of scripts going on in our heads. So a Libra full moon scripts are becoming a marionette doll. It is about being dependent on others, but at the same time, we hate it with that Aries stellium. We kind of feel like we are locked up in a golden cage, but we don't know how to get out of it. So that Aries stellium is asking you to get stronger. Now, interesting that the sun is actually having a conjunction to an asteroid called Olympia. And Olympia, as just the name suggests, it's about the Olympic Games. So what do we do on the Olympic Games? We want to be the best version of ourselves, and we want to be winning, right? So it is very much about, and for the Olympic Games, people are actually preparing for years. they become the bestest version of themselves for just a couple of weeks and so forth. So it is about somehow gathering your own strength. Now the sun is in conjunction to Jupiter as well, which is pretty much talking to you about having faith in yourself, learning to be understanding what it means for you to just be you overall. But also, the other script Libra brings into the picture is the dream relationships or the dream life. So, therefore, we are sugarcoating things, but behind the scene, we are actually weak. I'm good looking, I'm beautiful. Libra is the sign of vanity. But then eventually, we all realize that the world is very imperfect around us. Then also, we have got the justice element here with Libra. Basically, what happens here is that two people are fighting for the attention of the third, and Libra is just flirting with the third one, you know, or it starts flirting with the third one while the other two is fighting for my attention. I'm kind of getting bored of people fighting for me, and I don't have time for that anymore. However, I do enjoy the fact that people are fighting for me, right? Also, we have got this ditty box syndrome, which belongs to Libra as well, which pretty much talk about uh, it's very hard to end a relationship. So we are creating a situation where it is going to come to an end, and maybe I don't need to be making the decision myself. Or often we become the friends with the ex-partners, or we become the friends with benefits, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be in a bad, I don't want to end something on a bad world. And also, from a psychological perspective, what type of past traumatic experiences are brought into this relationship? Especially if a relationship ended on a bad note or it was not explained to me in the proper manner. So then if there is no explanation to it, then I get confused. And then I'm not able to move forward from my relationship. So what Libra full moon needs to learn here is to become willful, to learn to stand up for themselves. And sometimes you're going to have to put on the boxing gloves. And we do need to be in conflict. What we learn from that Cancerian square, because of that Pallas Athene, is that yes, we have got some deep bonds. Um, uh, and I need to be able to stay tough, even though the situation is, even though I don't necessarily like the situation either, because the Pallas Athene is fighting with wisdom. It doesn't pick up a sword if not necessary. Um, so one of the questions, or some of the questions which come up with this Libra full moon is that, how is my relationship? Do I find myself beautiful? Do I think I'm lovable? What do I do to make myself lovable? How important is it for me to be admired and praised? How do I end my relationships? Do I compromise a lot in relationships? Do I feel appreciated by my relationship or by my partners? Do I get a fair treatment from them? Because if the answers are no, then you have got something to clear around this full moon. Now, the fact that we do have got the Jupiter and Sun and Chiron conjunction, it's pretty much about learning about your own wounds, learning to stand up for yourself, figuring out what is it I want in these relationships. And it's not just about pleasing others as well. There is a call to action here to tap into your highest form of power and being able to fight for my own rights as well. Now, by the way, the aspect pattern of this chart is actually a bucket. Now, pretty much it's well, I wouldn't call it as the a good news in a sense, but what could really why it's a good news is because we had this ball shape going on for trillions of years. And it's going to start actually breaking for us. And then now we have got a bucket shape. So what is a bucket shape? You can see that the planets are kind of like on one side of the chart. And then we have got the moon, which is further away. So the moon is kind of like a singleton planet here. Everything is falling into the hands of the moon. The bucket chart shape is actually associated with Jupiter, or some people also call it as the basket. Now, it is a little bit similar to the ball shaped chart, by the way, but one planet is isolated and further away from the rest. 9 planets typically are within 180 degrees on one side of the chart, and one is way further away. So it's a lonely planet. It's the handle of the bucket. So therefore, it becomes a focal point here. The 2 boundary planets kind of like has got this overbearing energy in the chart, especially if the handle planet, in this case, the moon, is in the midpoint of these 2 other planets, then it even becomes more emphasized. So what you see here with the boundary planet is that it's going to be Mars and Pluto. Now, when you are working with the chart shapes, then you might want to be just looking at the 10 traditional planets. So obviously, Pluto and Mars are pretty much about brutality, brutality and violence overall. You know, one is more psychological and it wants to dig up the dirt and it's hungry for power. The other one is ready to grab the gun and shoot people because, you know, maybe I'm frustrated or I just want to be fighting for my own rights and so forth. And then we have got this very peaceful moon here. And it wants to create the balance. It wants to kind of be a mitigating factor. It doesn't want anything to be getting out of hand overall. So some of the traits or positive traits of a bucket chart shape, it is not as contained as the ball, as one planet is curious about what is going on in the world. It uses the resources a lot more than the ball chart shape. It has got a focus point of other people as well. However, often it could also indicate that we become a little bit single-minded with this still. Some of the negative ones are that we might feel insecure about the handle planet because it's unfamiliar. It's very far away from the rest of them. But it seems exciting and then it's inviting as well. I want to be exploring that other side as well. So imagine a situation where you have got a bucket-shaped chart, let's say this chart, what we are describing here, and then, you know, we have got this kind of like self-focus going on with Aries, but I am curious about what if I was in relationship? What if I did some negotiations with others? What if I connected with like-minded people and then explored that possibility a little bit more? Just to give you an example, for instance, of the bucket chart shape is a George Michael. He's got, if you look up his chart, you will be able to see that he's got a bucket chart shape and the Neptune is actually the handle of the planet in the sign of Scorpio. So often it could indicate struggles to go deep or to find beauty, for example. It's in the 5th house as well, which is music, entertainment, performance related. And his boundary planets are Saturn and Mars. So often it's about depression and losses, what we experience with these. So anyway, just a little bit of a knowledge about the bucket chart shape. On a mundane level, this Libra full moon is very prominent, I must say, because Libra represents justice, contractual agreements, Two signs that are connected with justice and law are Libra and Sagittarius. Libra represents court cases. So it's very possible that we're going to start seeing more and more important court cases, possibly with some type of losses, though, just because due to the fact that the dispositor of this Libra full moon is Venus, and it has got a conjunction to Algol, which is a fixed star on 26 degree of Taurus. But I'm going to talk about that in a short while to give you a little bit of an enlightenment about what Algol might represent in our chart. Also, you can see that, or you can't see on the, I mean, you can see actually that Jupiter is actually on the midpoint of the Sun and Aries asteroid. Now, our Aries is not on the chart, but it's on a 24 degree of Aries at the moment. So Jupiter is actually right on the middle of that. Now, Aries is I think it's a very important asteroid. It takes a good 550 years to go around the zodiacal circle. But basically, she was an extremely pissed off goddess, the goddess of discord, who was not invited to a wedding party. So she caused a little bit of a turmoil there by throwing a golden apple into the wedding ceremony to figure out who is the most beautiful and who is the fairest among the ladies. And it basically caused a little bit of it caused a war, basically. Now, what Aries pretty much represents in our chart is, first of all, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I don't want to be rejected. I want everyone to be included. I am fighting for justice. I am not giving up. I want to know the ultimate truth overall. But Aries is very revolutionary. Now, this revolutionary energy can be pretty much seen by the moon in conjunction to Uranus as well, which is actually extremely tight. Now, Uranus actually calls us to be true to our authentic self. It wants us to follow our intuition as well, but moon represents the people overall. And people want to be, and it's in the sign of Libra, which always wants to be restoring something, restoring the peace, restoring, I don't know, an architectural stuff, whatever we want to be restoring, but we want to restore that. And Uranus electrifies that. And then now, we've got this Jupiter on the midpoint of Sun and Aries. Aries is being pissed off. Sun is fighting for my own rights in the sign of Aries to conquer something, and Jupiter just magnifies that significantly. So I kind of believe that in the next 2 months, we will see some type of demonstrations, or, people are going to walk out to the streets. And did you see what is going on currently, for example, in France? People are on the streets because the prime minister wants to increase the retirement age to 64, if I'm not mistaken, from 62. So this seems to be getting more and more emphasized in the next 6 weeks at least. Another thing which we might be seeing here is that the dispositor of this Libra full moon is Venus. Now, Venus is extremely strong because it's in the sign of Taurus, so that's great. Venus is actually on 24 degree of Taurus, which is, by the way, falling into Capricorn decan, and within Capricorn, it's Aquarius dwarfs. That Venus has got a wide conjunction to Uranus, so another Aquarian flavor. So Aquarius is about devastations, getting fed up with things. It's the higher mind. It's about rebellion. It's going on the street and protesting against something. And it's in the sign of Taurus, which represents things such as banking system, markets, financial markets. Taurus wants to build something. It's about the sign of stability. So what it really looks to me that people are losing their faith. More importantly, this Venus has got a conjunction to a fixed star called Algol. So I think Algol is one of the most famous fixed stars. In Greek mythology, it is connected to a Medusa, a gorgon who had a head that was made entirely out of snakes. And the head of this famous Medusa is known as the fixed star of Algol. Currently, Algol is on 26 degree 10 minutes of Taurus. Uh, Fixed stars are actually moving slightly, but they move approximately about 1 degree every 72 years. Now, Algol does have a very bad reputation overall. It's kind of like a little bit of a wicked sign, basically. But what we need to know about the mythology of this Medusa, actually, she was a very beautiful woman. She was a virgin of a temple. But basically, her hair was, you know, made out of snakes, especially because she had an affair with Neptune. I mean, unfortunately, Neptune attacked her and raped her. And then eventually Pallas Athene became furious that Medusa had this sexual relationship with Neptune. However, she was a virgin of a temple, so she was meant to be kind of like a sacred person in a sense. And eventually she turned her into this monstrous, snaky woman, basically. So now Algol is something to do with a change of perception overall. It could talk about jealousy, by the way, but it could also talk about that someone's head is going to fall off. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get, our head is going to get chopped off, but it can actually indicate that someone is going to be losing their prominent position, for example. So imagine a situation where, I don't know, for example, there is a big organization, and then all of a sudden, because the business is not going well, the boss of that organization is going to get dismissed. So this is something like, for example, because it's in the sign of Taurus and can represent businesses, but also banking, I can imagine that the banking manager is going to get basically fired from their position because of a failure or because, this and that type of things. But I also can imagine that people are going on the streets to protest that, for example, a prime minister should be resigning from their position because there is so much Uranian energy going on. By the way, alcohol is also connected to alcohol in modern astrology. I mean, alcohol actually comes from the word alcohol as well. So, it's demonic, right? So obviously, what does alcohol do to us in a sense? It might turn into a negative behavior, or maybe it turns us to become or to commit a crime, or we can become addicted to it, or we lose our sense of rationality, or we're gonna throw up and next day we're gonna have a hangover and all those type of things. Even though alcohol was something they used for skinny shoes or to kind of clean, something. Um, um, but also alcohol is something which allows us to lose our inhibitions. So it's daring, we lose our morality with this. So these are some of the keywords when it comes to alcohol. So this could pretty much talk about, for example, an alcohol-related scandal as well, just because there is a Venus there. And Venus is the finer things of life. Remember that also Libra, full moon, and it's on Leo's wood as well. which is about entertainment industry and also vanity. Both signs are very much connected to vanity. So, you know, I can imagine a situation where someone famous is gonna get drunk and then there's gonna be some pictures taken of them and all those type of things. So this full moon. Oh, and then the other thing which we can see here is that we do have got this very tight quincunx, which is a 150-degree aspect from Moon, not only to Uranus, but to Juno as well, which is contractual agreements. So it can indicate that someone's contract is going to finish a lot quicker, for example, than expected with others. But also, Juno is a relationship asteroid as well. So on a personal level, it invites you to make some adjustments in your partnership or to collaborate with the right person at the right time. So guys, this is my interpretation of this upcoming full moon. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you did, press like and do not forget to check out my retreat in Turkey from the 12th of June. One more interesting fact, and this is the last one I would like to mention in this video today, that the moon has just started its journey on the fiery road. Now in astrology, we call it as via kombusta. Now, for example, the sun is always on via kombusta between October 7th till about November 7th. Basically, the via kombusta is between 15 degree of Libra to 15 degree of Scorpio. Now, via kombusta means the fiery roads, the fiery way. This segment of the chart is very Saturnian and Marsian related territories. So in traditional astrology, those two are considered as the malefic planets. So it can bring some type of challenges. This segment of your chart is very much about intensity. It's about focus on finding self-fulfillment, but also letting go of the need for others to make you happy as well. Not necessarily living by the code of the expectations of others or or what type of assumptions others have, what I should be doing or should not be doing, and so forth. So it is an invitation to make changes in our lives, maybe for the better, but it is about to make us stronger, to become more authentic about something. And that is the Aries stellium here. So via combusta is between 15 degree of Libra to 15 degree of Scorpio. It represents hazards, especially in horary astrology. It is important in your chart if the sun, moon, or the ascendant is found here in these degrees. And it could talk to you about, now it doesn't mean that it's really bad, but what it means is that you might be living on the verge of something, or you are a little bit more risky, or you risk your life somehow, or you jumping from one thing to another. Now, the fact that this full moon is happening just at the beginning of the Via Combusta, it is talking to me about that the next 30 days can be with full of surprises. And this is also echoed here by that very strong Uranian flavor. So expect something unexpected in the world, but also, for example, with that Uranus and Venus conjunction, it might be that you're gonna find suddenly a love out of the blue, right? Especially if it's connected to your seventh house, for example. But definitely it's about awareness. Now, one more very last thing is that there is a degree in the sign of Libra, 23 degree, which is connected to a fixed star called Spica, and that's a very lucky star there. So if your moon ascendant or the sun is around 22, 23, or 24 degree, then it's not as burnt. I just wanted to kind of mention that to you. But yeah, so I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you did, press like, and do not forget to check out my upcoming retreat early June, because the promotion is ending very soon. Prices will go up on the 15th of April. See you soon. Bye bye.